America's largest and most powerful doomsday nuclear submarine suddenly surfaced in the Philippines, without warning. And this is not a drill. Rising from the depths of the Pacific, the USS Ohio, a massive guided missile submarine capable of unleashing massive destruction from thousands of miles away, revealed itself in Subic Bay. The Ohio-class SSGN represents one of the most heavily armed and operationally versatile platforms in the U.S. Navy. And when a vessel like the USS Ohio chooses to be seen, it's sending a message, a really powerful message, a message of reach, and a reminder of America's enduring presence right in the Philippines' doorstep. This mighty presence is impossible to ignore because just across the waters, China's newest supercarrier, the Type 003 Fujian, is undergoing intensive sea trials just off the coast of the Philippines. Two symbols of naval dominance from opposite sides, appearing almost at the same moment. So why here? Why now? And what exactly is the USS Ohio capable of? That's where our story begins. This is the USS Ohio. Stretching nearly 2 football fields in length, it's a behemoth of American naval power. First commissioned in the early 1980s, it once carried nuclear ballistic missiles, part of America's strategic triad of nuclear bombers: deterrent, land-based ICBMs, strategic bomber aircrafts, and nuclear missile-armed submarines. But the Ohio was later transformed into something even more versatile. Converted into a guided missile submarine classified SSGN by the U.S. Navy, it now houses 7 launch tubes, each packing 7 Tomahawk cruise missiles for an astonishing 154 total missile armament. Each Tomahawk missile is capable of flying low, hugging terrain, and striking targets more than 1,000 miles away with surgical precision. Each Tomahawk warhead is capable of delivering 1,000 pounds of high explosives. Beyond its missiles and torpedoes, the USS Ohio carries dry dock and lockout chambers, which can secretly deploy special operations forces, including Navy SEALs, unmanned drones, and operate undetected for months beneath the waves. This is not your standard submarine warship. It is an invisible underwater mobile strike platform with advanced acoustic silencing, low magnetic signatures, and stealth coatings. The USS Ohio is not just a weapon of war, but a strategic instrument of influence, capable of projecting power, deterring adversaries, and supporting allies across the Indo-Pacific. So when a submarine this deadly decides to surface, it's not simply docking and resupplying. It's making a strongly worded statement. But what statement was being made in the Philippines? The USS Ohio appeared at Rivera Wharf in Subic Bay, a place heavy with history. Once home to the largest U.S. naval base in Asia, Subic Bay was earlier abandoned by American naval forces in 1992, only to see their quiet yet powerful return. The U.S. Navy labeled it a scheduled port visit, but defense analysts and pundits know submarines rarely surface unless they want to be noticed. Subic Bay wasn't chosen at random. It was chosen for its symbolism. To locals on the ground, the sight was rare, even unsettling. A massive U.S. nuclear submarine surfacing where few had expected it. But to analysts watching from afar, it was no accident. Every move of the USS Ohio was deliberate, every appearance a calculated message. The real question isn't whether it was intentional. The question is, who was the message meant for? Because just across the sea, China was preparing a huge move of its own, one that could potentially shift the balance of power in the region. At the very same moment the USS Ohio surfaced in Subic Bay, China's newest and most advanced aircraft carrier, the Type 003 Fujian, was conducting sea trials. This colossal warship is larger and more sophisticated than anything Beijing has ever built before. Equipped with electromagnetic catapults and capable of launching heavier aircraft, the Fujian represents not just a new carrier, but a bold declaration. China intends to challenge American naval supremacy head-on. But here's the truth. Carriers are symbols of power, yet they are also symbols of vulnerability. These floating air bases need constant protection from destroyers, frigates, and aircraft, because nothing in naval warfare strikes fear into a carrier group more than a stealthy submarine lurking beneath the waves. and the USS Ohio is built for exactly that. Armed with more than 150 Tomahawk cruise missiles, able to operate silently for months, it is the nightmare scenario for any carrier commander. One submarine like the Ohio can cripple or destroy what took decades and billions of dollars for Beijing to build. This is the silent duel unfolding in the Indo-Pacific. America's unmatched dominance beneath the seas against China's growing ambition to dominate the skies and surface above them. China has poured staggering resources into its navy, fleets of destroyers, advanced frigates, amphibious assault ships, and its own arsenal of nuclear submarines. Yet even with that growth, the United States still holds the edge where it matters most, in the deep, where detection is survival and where the first strike often decides everything. So when the USS Ohio chose Subic Bay to reveal itself, it wasn't just a port call. It was shadowboxing Beijing's dreams of carrier supremacy, a reminder that for every Chinese advance on the surface, there is an American answer waiting beneath. But why stage this contest on Philippine shores? Why bring the Philippines into this dangerous game of shadows and signals? The answer lies not just in today's headlines, in geography, and in history. The Philippines is more than just a treaty ally of the United States. It is the geographic linchpin of what strategists call the first island chain, that natural arc of islands stretching from Japan through Taiwan and down to the Philippines. This chain acts like a gate, hemming in China's navy and limiting its ability to break out into the wider Pacific. And at the heart of this gate lies Subic Bay. Once the largest U.S. naval base in Asia, Subic is now a bustling port. But its strategic value hasn't faded. Sitting just 700 kilometers from Taiwan, and even closer to the hotly contested reefs of the South China Sea, it is a launch point, a forward bastion, and a constant reminder that geography itself can be a strong weapon. Thanks to the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, American forces once again have access to key Philippine bases. For Washington, that means the ability to project power faster, to respond to crises quicker, and to tighten the noose around Chinese ambitions. For Manila, it means something deeper, a return to relevance on the world stage. The Philippines isn't just watching events unfold, it is at the very center of them. And there is pride in that. Pride that these islands, once colonized and overlooked, now stand at the crossroads of great power rivalry. Pride that Filipino soil once again carries global significance. But with that pride comes a shadow. The risk of being pulled into a conflict not of their choosing. Because the closer the Philippines moves to the fire, the greater the chance of getting burned. And today, those risks aren't theoretical. They are rising, day by day, with every submarine surfacing and every carrier that sets sail. Each time a U.S. submarine surfaces in the Philippines, it's a calculated signal. But to Beijing, those signals can look like threats, and the danger is that one misstep, one miscalculation, could turn posturing into provocation. For the Philippines, this is the double edge. Hosting American power strengthens security, but it also makes the nation a target in the eyes of China. So where does this lead? What happens next if the USS Ohio is just the beginning? There are three possible scenarios. First, the U.S. quietly rotates more submarines through Philippine waters, projecting power and building deterrence. Second, China reacts by pushing back harder, increasing naval patrols, accelerating carrier operations, and raising tensions at sea. Third, the Philippines becomes a central hub of American power, but at the price of standing directly in the line of fire. And each path carries enormous consequences. The USS Ohio's sudden surfacing in Subic Bay wasn't a courtesy visit. It was a declaration, a signal of strength, deterrence, and reach. For China, it's a reminder that beneath the waves, U.S. power is unmatched. For the Philippines, it's both a moment of pride and a sobering warning of what it means to stand at the crossroads of great power competition. In the months ahead, we may see more submarines surface. More bases activated, more signals sent across the sea, each one bringing the Philippines deeper into a rivalry that defines this century. This was not just a submarine. This was a message, and perhaps the start of a new phase in the contest for the Indo-Pacific. And the next time a submarine surfaces here, it may not just be sending a message. It may be preparing for something far greater.